Let's start, as we always do. Let's take a look at who's in my green room tonight. My first guest is a fabulous singer, dancer, model, and the best judge on Britain's Got Talent. And yes, I know you're watching Williams. It is the fabulous Alicia Dixon. Great to have you back on the show. Next up, we have a brilliant comedian. I would say he is my second favourite comic with a wonky eye. Oh, we all love Ramesh. It's Russell Howard. There he is. Hey, Russell. Not so wonky anymore. Alongside Russell, I'm very excited to say that we welcome back onto the show the king of the UK rap scene. It's Stormzy, ladies and gentlemen. And as if his phenomenal music success wasn't enough, he set up his own publishing house, and tonight he's introducing two incredible young talents that he's mentoring. He's publishing books by them. It's Chelsea Kwachi and Jude Yawson. They're coming out with Stormzy. Great to have you both on the show. And also on the programme tonight, one of the most important and iconic people in British pop music. He is a genuine superstar, the one and only Boy George, ladies and gentlemen. Looking amazing as always. And finally, we've got some great music for you tonight from the most exciting thing to come out of Scandinavia since a depressed detective in a sweater. She's an incredible performer. She's got an incredible voice. She's had nearly 500 million streams all over the world. It's Sigrid. Thank you for joining us. Now, before we get to that, we pride ourselves on this show on our political neutrality, ladies and gentlemen, and so I'm taking very seriously the accusations that we are being biased against the government by constantly showing footage of Theresa May doing this. Theresa May dancing. Well, I say dancing, I mean having some sort of public nervous breakdown. It's a cry for help. Well, this week, though, I'm pleased that we can redress the balance because Jeremy Corbyn has attempted the floss. He's the white Drake, ladies and gentlemen. Jeremy Corbyn, he's having a problem swinging to the right there, hasn't he? To be fair to Jezza, though, he's obviously been bullied into that by Ollie Moores and Ashley Banjo. But Stormzy, you're mates with Jezza. Yeah, you know I'm coming to you. OK? You saw that. Stormzy, can't you stop him?
Oh, mate. I knew he was going to pick me for this.
You represent him. Come on, you can teach him some moves.
I represent him?
OK, maybe you don't. OK. OK. Autumn is very much upon us, of course. The nights are drawing in, leaves are falling from the trees. It's a beautiful time of year, great time of year to be outdoors, and I love it. But I don't think I have as much fun as this gorgeous Labrador. Look at this. Would you love to do that? Let's get my first guest out, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Everything she touches turns to gold. She was in a chart-topping band. She won Strictly Come Dancing. She's the star of the biggest talent show on TV. This fabulous Alicia Dixon. Alicia, you look amazing as always.
So do you, Jonathan.
Oh, thank you.
So do you.
So the exciting news, of course, Britain's Got Talent will be back. Is it next spring it comes back on? I think it's springtime.
We start auditions in January.
You must look forward to it, or do you dread it a little bit? Because some of the acts you have in the audition stage, I think the polite way of putting them is sort of weird and wonderful.
It's the best job. We're so lucky to work on such an amazing show. Every time January comes around, which is quite a miserable month for a lot of people,
yeah.
You're skint from Christmas, it's freezing, we get to go and have fun on Britain's Got Talent.
Here's the thing, because when we're watching at home, when I'm watching at home, I sometimes think, why have they put that person through? I don't see what they're seeing in that act.
Yeah.
And why have they not put this person through? Do you get that?
I think I've learned to have more of a sense of humour with the show over the years. When I first joined the show, I think I took it so seriously. I was only interested in the real talent. And I think you've got to remember with Britain's Got Talent, it's about embracing eccentric people and people that just, you know, want to have a laugh. You've got to take the show with a pinch of salt.
So sometimes it's not Britain's Got Talent, it's just Britain's Got Weirdos. No, we haven't. What's your daughter make of this? Because presumably, because she's 5, isn't she?
She just turned 5,
Okay,
yes.
Azura.
Yes. Azura,
And
she just turned 5.
Does she mainly think of Mum as doing TV work? Because she will have seen that. Or does she know about your music career from...
She's slowly starting to understand. What's so scary for me is now we get in the car and she'll say, Mummy, can I listen to All I Want? I'm like, what? Yeah. You know, songs that came out so many years ago, and now my daughter's starting to discover them and enjoy them, and every now and then she'll start singing The Boy Does Nothing or Breathe Slow, and you think, wow. And that's so surreal for me to see her, you know, singing along, and she's just starting to understand. But when I mention Britain's Got Talent, all she's interested in is Holly, which is Amanda's daughter, and Eric, which is Simon's son.
So does
she just associates it with a play date.
So you all take the kids along to the
Occasionally. She doesn't like the buzzers, so I tend to keep her away from the auditions. But when we do the deliberation day, we all bring the kids. It's like a creche.
Why did...
It's lovely, though. It's so nice.
It does sound like a particularly kind of high-end nursery. But why doesn't she like the buzzers? She doesn't like the noise? She doesn't
they're
like the...
so loud. I mean,
really?
oh, my goodness, they make me jump. I remember when I was pregnant and I was on the show, nobody knew I was pregnant, and every time the buzzer would go, she would kick me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that because she disagreed with who you were voting out?
Probably, yeah.
We were talking about Mystique there. All I Want is, just to remind you, because, of course, you were a huge band, and this was a big hit in 2000. I think you got to #2 in this country. Have a look at this. This is Alicia back when she was in Mystique. Why is it embarrassing?
Well, because I'm sitting here watching myself.
But you find that embarrassing?
Well, yeah, because I'm watching it with everybody else.
So, normally you sit and watch it at home.
At home on my own, yeah.
You know, at the end of that, the clip we're playing, you know, that's rapping as such, but it's more like dancehall stuff, is it?
Well,
or
back
MCing?
in the day when I first started, it was more MCing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it took on many different forms. But when I initially started, I remember just being at a house party with my uncle, and he was MCing in the kitchen, and I was like, oh, teach me how to do that.
So what did he teach you then? How does someone teach someone to MC?
I mean, the lyrics were quite bad. Something about the chicken and the rice and the gravy. It was something bad. You're so damn lovely. I'll be your wife and I'll have your baby. It was terrible. But I remember him teaching me this 16-bar rap, and I just took it to the club one day, and I did it, and, yeah, I got quite a good response.
So you were rapping about chicken and rice
No,
and gravy?
I wasn't. My uncle was. Okay. He taught me, but it was actually Sabrina, you know, my band member, that encouraged me to do it
in the band,
on the songs, because originally that wasn't the plan, and then it kind of became a bit of our sort of trademark.
You used to say, enter.
Enter, and just any nonsense that would come out of my mouth. I was just having a good time, and there were no rules, and...
Okay. I got one. I've got a...
What have you got?
This is a thing that people use.
What's
young people use, I believe, when they want to play music in a club. Is that...
What, are you about to play something?
Yeah.
OK.
This is I got garage effects on here.
Yeah?
Remember garage? Remember this?
Hold on.
That's Alicia. That's Alicia laughing. That is, isn't it?
The first bit's me. The second bit, that's you. That's you.
I think this is you.
That bit is. No! That is not me, you sod. What is wrong with you?
I don't know what is wrong with me. People have wondered for years. It must have been great to be part of a successful band. You must miss it, I'm sure.
It was the best times of my life. Many highs, some lows, but more highs, and I owe everything to Mystique. Everything.
So when you say the lows, what were the lows then?
Well, because I think, you know, when I say lows, I think anyone that's in a band will understand that it can be quite tense. You know, you're living in and out of each other's pockets every day. You don't really see friends and family, but at the same time, you're living your dream. I mean, being in a band helped me see the world. I'd never been on an aeroplane before, you know, being in a group. And
How old were you the first time you went on a plane then?
I think we were 18, and we flew out to Brunei to perform for the Sultan of Brunei's son at his 18th birthday party.
That's what most people's first flight is like.
But can you imagine how surreal that was for me? You know, I came from a small little town, and it was an incredible time.
But you say bands, attention band. I know Boy George, of course, famously you were with Culture Club for years. George,
My childhood, by the way.
You never
Culture
had.
Club.
There were never any disagreements in Culture Club, were there?
No, we're like the
understands.
Waltons.
Now, here's the amazing thing. Alicia looks incredible, of course. I was amazed and slightly, you know, very surprised to find out that you had a big birthday recently. Can I ask you about this? Is that OK?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. This was a milestone birthday, wasn't it?
It was.
Would you tell everyone how many years you were celebrating? Can you say how old you were?
I turned 40.
Alicia turned 40, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, absolutely. There's no way you're not even close to 40.
Oh, thank you.
That's amazing.
I had a little bit of a meltdown before I turned 40.
What do you mean by meltdown?
Just like I said, leading up to it, I just felt very emotional.
So you just felt very sad?
Not sad, just... Come on, you know what it's like.
What
You've
do you
been
mean?
there. You've been there. I mean, haven't you... How old are you?
I'm 39. So, Alicia has 2 books out. They're just here. One was released early this year, the other one's out now. And these are books you've written, you've co-written.
Yep.
They're for children.
Yes.
But it's interesting because they're kind of... It's sort of linked to your daughter, isn't it? The reason... This is the first one. It's called Lightning Girl. And this one's Lightning Girl Superhero Squad.
Yes.
Written by Alicia. And tell me why you wanted to bring this character to life.
I wanted to write something that was inspiring for my daughter. You know, I've looked at the kind of role models and characters that she's reading about, and I felt like there was space for Aurora Beam, which is the central character. It's basically an 11-year-old girl who's a superhero. Yeah, she can shoot light beams from her fingertips, and one day on the school playground, her sister is being bullied, and she has an emotional outburst, and that's when she discovers that she has these superpowers.
And so when you were growing up, did you have anything that you looked at? Were there any books you loved or any characters on TV that you felt you could associate with?
I mean, I loved all the classics. You know, Roald Dahl was obviously one of my favourite authors, and I loved Enid Blyton and people like that. But I think, you know, essentially, I feel very proud that I have a young girl of colour on the front of my book that represents what I would have liked to have seen when I was a young girl.
Yeah.
And that was important. I want my daughter to grow up feeling represented. I want her to feel counted. I think everyone should feel included. And I think that there's a massive gap in the market for a character like Aurora Beam. And I've been absolutely blown away by the response to the book. I've had so many parents write to me saying, thank you, my daughter or my son, you know, they're enjoying reading again. My daughter, you know, I've actually had people send me photographs of their children dressing up as Aurora Beam. And some days my daughter will say to me, Mummy, I want my hair like Aurora Beam today.
Oh, lovely.
And those small little things, they really matter.
Well, that's such a lovely, isn't that a lovely... It's a lovely message, I think.
Yeah.
It's a really lovely reason for doing it. Here's the thing, you were amazing on Strictly Come Dancing. I don't know how many of you saw it, but of course Alicia won the issue. Was it 2007?
2007, yeah.
But you managed to avoid what they call the curse of Strictly.
Yeah.
I know. You were with Matthew Cutler.
Yes.
He's not a bad-looking guy. He's not great, but he's not a bad-looking guy.
I was single at the time.
You were single at the time, so there were just no sparks between you?
I mean, I probably tried to snog him. Knowingly, on a... You know, the thing is, on Strictly, that everyone goes out... Who snorted? Someone in the crowd just snorted.
I think we know who it was, Alicia.
No, it wasn't me. Do you know what? I was just so focused on doing well that I didn't have time for the hanky-panky and the nonsense that
Is
goes
that a
on.
dance, the hanky-panky?
Yeah. But do you know what, though? The sexual chemistry, it's real.
Well, because you're rubbing up against someone
You're
all day.
rubbing up them. You're rubbing up.
Rubbing up.
Rubbing up on them.
Enter!
You get a little feeling, you know. Yeah. It's intense, so I can see how it goes down that road.
But Alicia, it's lovely to have you back here. You look amazing. Congratulations on your milestone birthday. Congratulations on the books.
Thank
it's
you.
lovely to have you back here. Ladies and gentlemen, the fabulous Alicia Dixon.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Alicia. Still to come, I'll be chatting to Mr. Russell Howard, a very funny man. Don't go away. See you after the break. Welcome back to the show. Let's get my next guest out here. You will know him, of course, from his very funny shows, Russell Howard's Good News and the Russell Howard Hour, so you might have guessed who it is already. Yes, it's Russell Howard, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Russell, how you
Hello.
doing?
I'm very well. How are
You're
you?
looking good. You're looking very trim. You're just back from Dubai, is that correct?
Yes.
Was this a holiday or was this work?
No, I did some gigs out there.
Now, how does that go? How
It was much better than last time. No, seriously, last time I went with my mum, and they thought we were a couple.
Whoa.
And she played up to it the entire week. I was waiting for her at breakfast one morning. I'm not making this up. She came down and went, "Morning, husband." And she told one of the waiters that I was a male prostitute, that she got cheap because my eyes were lazy. It was...
Let me ask you, because I know you're a very funny man, I know you're a clever man as well. You haven't dabbled with writing, you haven't tried to write books. Had you ever thought about maybe doing a children's book like Alicia's done, or...?
The thing I often find about writing is I'm very envious of people that I couldn't sit down and entertain myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I think that's the skill you'd have to... But the idea of being sat there just with me...
That's a pretty grim thought,
What,
yeah.
have you ever been in one of them flotation tanks? Has anyone ever... It's quite a wanky thing. Hey, have you ever been in a float?
So that's where you're isolated, you're just you and your thoughts.
Well, I thought this is going to be great. I'll get in there, I'll sit there, I'll understand myself. And literally within a minute, you're like, well, this is the worst thing ever. It's like you're locked in like an egg with just you for an hour.
So now, what did you find most annoying about yourself in that hour?
The fact that after 5 minutes, I thought, should I have a wank? And I genuinely thought... I'm not proud of saying that, but I was like, no,
like a
I
healthy
think...
man to
yeah,
me.
Yeah. But then I thought they'll have cameras in there.
Why would they have cameras in a flotation tank?
Because that's what I would do if I ran a dirty egg business.
So did you or didn't you?
Of course I didn't, no.
What do you mean, of course I didn't, if you thought about it?
I sat
That's
there
so funny.
thinking about...
Wanking.
No! But I don't know what I thought. I wasn't planning on chatting about this, but I read a story the other day that a lot of over 60s still partake in a bit of onanism. So don't judge me. I can see some of you.
Over 60s? I'm 60 in 2 years' time. Of course we wank. It's not fallen off.
But
I mean, it's not like...
I mean, there was a big round of applause over there. Yeah.
It's like pleasure ends at 60.
Yeah, it's not like they come and cut it off or something when you turn...
But I don't know. I don't...
You just can't imagine 60-year-olds wanking.
I don't like the idea of you doing it.
No,
I
and I apologise for putting that thought in your head.
But I don't.
I only ever do it in flotation tanks, so you'll never see any of that footage.
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned your mum already. Nanette is her name.
Yes.
You spent a lot of time with her recently, because you do travel shows with her.
Yes.
You did one in America, which was great, and you've just come back... Is it India the next series is going to be set in?
You went to India and South Korea and Japan.
Wow. OK, so South Korea as well.
There you go.
That's you and Nanette in India. So you must get on well with your mum to be
I
able
love
to
her,
travel
yeah.
these places to have that. But is she a bit of a liability sometimes? Is it?
She's not a liability. She's just... What I love about my mum is that she's got no affectation. So, like, I mean, you know when you're in a hotel room, you kind of go, oh, another hotel. Oh, like that. Whereas mum will literally go, oh, free biscuits. And a kettle. Steal it all. She just gets excited. So we flew business class. And you see all these sort of businessmen very used to it. And mum's literally like that. Oh, my God, the seat. So she sort of led down in the air going, look at that, I'm led down in the air. And it's beautiful. If you spend time with someone like that, it reminds you how great the world is. Not to say she isn't insane.
Well, now, when you went on the USA road trip,
Yes.
I think one of the most popular moments from that series, and this is extraordinary, is you and your mum, you got high.
Yes.
So she got stoned on camera. What was the... Is she a regular drug user for recreational purposes? Or was this the first time for her?
It was the first time. She loved it. I loved it.
Well, this was marijuana.
It was marijuana. Yeah.
Marijuana.
Where were we? We were in Portland.
And was it already legal there then? Because it's legal, yeah. Okay.
Yes, it was legal, all fine, all above board, so we can chat about it. And it was great. I don't know if you've got stoned with your mum. Have you ever?
No comment.
Oh, really? So there you go. It's great, isn't it? It just... There was a lovely moment, so she sort of, like, just seeing your mum take a hit on a joint in itself is kind of... She's kind of like that. And then we're having a chat, and she genuinely went... She went, cows have got no emotional range. And you're like, it's actually a really good point, because cows... But you've never heard a cow go, moo.
Yeah.
Like that. So we were chatting about cows. So.
Amazing. OK, the Russell Hour is back for a second series. This is back on 8th of November on Sky at 10 p.m, I think.
Yes.
Tell people what it's about, if they haven't seen it before, or what can they look forward to in the new series?
So, it's basically me chatting about the news and specifically things I care about.
Yeah.
So I find it quite hard to get worked up about sort of fake hate. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I tell you what annoys me, Wagamama. And it's all quite safe stuff.
Yeah.
But last year, I got really genuinely upset. I read a thing about 1 in 4 16 to 25-year-old girls self-harm, and it genuinely upset me. And I thought, I wonder if I could talk about that, because this is what I feel, and try and make sense and make it entertaining and hopefully uplifting and funny. And
so
that's
have some
the way we
comedy
do
in it, but not at the expense, obviously.
Absolutely
of that.
not in the
No,
expense, but trying to understand it. Because I spoke to lots of women about this. I spoke to one girl, and she told me a thing about ribcage bragging. I'm not sure you're familiar with that. It's basically where people on Instagram will show off their ribs.
These are girls who are not eating much and they are
Exactly.
deliberately
So
trying
young girls copy it, and I can't speak for women, but I can speak for every man that's walked the earth. No man's ever looked at a woman and gone, look at her ribs on that. Because we look at you like you're women, not percussion instruments. We're not going to just go, oh yeah. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to flip you over and go, We're not. Exactly, and it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, so you found a way of
But my point being is that I think it's really important to, if you're lucky enough where people watch your show, it's a bit like you're saying with your daughter, trying to write a book for her. It's trying to write comedy for people who are disenfranchised. I find it really fascinating, and it's the only thing I can do.
Well, I know this is you're kind of very, very connected with that side of life, and you want to use your platform in some way.
And I like talking to specifically young people and like, because I'm not as old as you, obviously you isn't, but.
Still love you.
No, you look amazing. But you should have seen back when we were backstage, when we found out you were 40, everyone was like, what the fuck, no, what? Stormzy lost it, didn't he? Seriously. But, so I like talking to young people about the world, and I kind of feel like as, I'm 38 now, I find it... I spoke to... this sounds incredibly creepy, but I spoke to how old was she? She was 22, about pubic hair. We built up to it, right? I didn't just...
Didn't go straight in.
No, but she told me something. She was like, I shave it because I don't want boys to laugh at me. And I was like, that's so sad, because I think you should keep it hairy. If you want to shave it for you. Don't do it for men. Because I think there'll be old women in here that you don't muck around, you keep it loose, you keep it swinging. Like, and that's the way it should be. There'll be old women in here with a fanny like Jon Snow's coat. And that is exactly... That's what they should be like. And the very... Let me finish! And the very idea... But the very idea that you're distorting your natural body for men is utterly ludicrous.
Yeah. I agree.
And I think that's the... So you can put funny jokes in and have a bit of heart. Yeah. You don't just want to be like, I mean, girls don't do it, you know? It's just fucking wet and shit. Crank it, you know what I mean?
I'm not going to voice an opinion on the end part of that. But I was going to say, you mean Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, not Jon Snow the newsman. Is that right?
Come here.
I don't know what he's
Imagine that.
Because that was my first thought.
Why have I never thought of that joke?
No, but I thought, why is his coat such a bad thing?
Yeah.
He's quite a well-turned-out old gentleman.
That is brilliant.
Listen, every so often your accent pops out. A lot of the time you're speaking what I would say is I'd call English, and then sometimes that accent comes out, which is that Bristolian, the full Bristolian accent.
That was Bristolian, yeah.
So, can I hear a little bit of that in its native form? Because
in its native form?
Yeah. I'm excited when I hear
I can't believe you're having a go at me the way I speak.
No. I'm not having a go. I'm celebrating our differences.
OK. But what would you like me to say?
Well, already that was funny.
Say.
So,
Sounds a bit like Cornwall, like...
Yeah,
Devon, like...
it's like that,
It's
right?
near Cornwall, but not as touristy.
I'll tell you what I did see. Oh, this is the most perfect Bristolian thing I've seen recently. So walking through the park, and this kid, he's probably about, I don't know, 7, he scored a goal, right? And evidently he hadn't scored yet, and he was like, oh, it's happened! It's happened! Dad! Right? And his dad runs towards him. It's absolutely beautiful. And they both ran towards each other and then went... and then touched each other's bellies. And then he kind of ran back to the other dad and went, I'll be honest with you, we've been practicing that for 3 years. And it was just like...
That's the sweetest thing.
Beautiful.
The Russell Howard Hour starts Thursday, 8th of November at 10 p.m. The very funny Mr. Russell Howard, ladies and gentlemen. Show the town while we're chatting to Boy George, and we've got Stormzy out here. See you after the break. Welcome back to the show. Let's get my next guest out, shall we? Now, he is a huge personality with such a unique and distinctive sense of dress and makeup that I think it's easy to forget just what a brilliant singer and songwriter he is. He is a music superstar for a reason. Let's just remind ourselves why.
Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? It's hard to find in the church of the poison ivy. In the church of the poison ivy. Come a chameleon. You come and go. You come and go.
I'm delighted he's on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the fabulous Boy George.
This year's well done. Cool. Come, be modern. Be modern.
George, it's fantastic to have you here.
It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, here's the exciting news. First Culture Club album. How many years is this now? 18, 19
They keep
years?
saying 20, but I think that might be a big exaggeration, you know.
Close to 20 years. Anyway. This is live. It's out now. Brand new Culture Club album. Now, how was it getting back with the original band and recreating the sound and coming up with new material? What was that like?
You know what? Bands really only make sense when you're on stage or in the studio. The rest of the time, you probably look at each other and think, who are you people? Why am I hanging out with you? You know,
They're not really necessarily close friends.
Well, we came together to be a band. We weren't mates at school.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't know each other before the band started. So, you know, I would say we're still learning to communicate, even all these years on.
Well, hold on. So how many... If we take out the gap when you weren't together, though, you were first together from about 86, 87?
No, 82. 82 was the
Wow.
beginning. 82 to 86 was the sort of the mental years, I call them.
So that's 35 years ago.
Yeah. There's been bits in between, obviously. We never really officially split up. We just stopped speaking to each other for a while. And I went off and did whatever I was doing. I had a DJ career, I had a solo career.
Well, you've lived a full life, George.
I've been busy.
Yeah. And so when you got back together then, presumably, were there still any of the kind of old, not animosities as such, but any grievances or any of the friction that had existed before? Did that reappear, or had you all grown up enough for that not to be an issue?
I think that, you know, there are always things that come up because we're human beings.
Yeah.
And the issue has always been about me getting all the attention.
But to be fair, you kind of you sort of had earned most of the attention.
It's my own fault.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you've always looked very... the eye is drawn to you in any photograph. I mean, look,
Yeah.
that really... It's like you and three Uber drivers, you know what I mean?
They're going to kill you. They're going to kill you. I suppose I'm like the face on the cereal box.
Yeah, you're the brand,
You know,
really.
let's
Let's have a look at the clip. This is Let Somebody Love You from the new album by Boy George with Culture Club. Look at this.
Love is revolution. War and famine too. Feel the hunger in your heart. Let somebody love you. Let somebody love you.
There you go. That's Culture Club from the new album. Is out right now. So now, one of these was us about the band getting on, because there were reports this week that you sacked John Moss, the drummer from the band, who at one time, many years ago, was your partner as well, wasn't
He was, yeah.
So
I read that story. It was in The Sun, though.
Yeah, yes.
So that doesn't mean it
No,
could
but
be a work
that's
of
why I'm
fiction.
asking you. I want it from the
At the
horse's
moment,
mouth.
he is taking a break. We went on a very, very grueling tour last year, and John, you know, said quite openly he wanted to spend more time with his kids.
Right.
He's got great kids, and
Which
he's a
is
great dad, and that's what he wants to
understandable,
do.
yeah.
But as far as we're concerned, he's still part of Culture Club.
So there's no friction there. You didn't sack him.
There's always friction, but no, I didn't sack him. There are actually 4 people in the band.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not the Grand Wizard. I
So
can't
you
just
couldn't...
fire people.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's a democracy as such.
It is now. But I think with things like that, you know, you can't just turn around... You know, you must know the same thing. You can't just turn around and tell people what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I tried that in the 80s. It was a disaster.
Yeah. Well, when were you at your worst? When you think back to the 80s, what were the worst things you did, either inflicted on the band or just did with a sense of grandness and importance?
Some of the things I made them wear a little bit funny. I used to say, no, you look great in it. And, you know, nowadays I'm like, you've got to be comfortable, not too comfortable.
Yeah.
You never want someone to look at your outfit and say you look comfortable.
So you chose what they wore?
Not chose, but I used to kind of try and force my will on them.
Can I ask you? I read that you gave a quote. You were on a radio show, I think, and you said that you turned down an MBE.
That's not true.
That's not true, but you said it.
Did I?
Yeah.
I might not have said it, though. I might not have said it.
I think you did.
I've never met the Queen. I'd love to meet the Queen.
You never met the
No,
Queen?
I've met Charles and Camilla. Oh. Met Diana, who was adorable.
Oh, yeah. Did you know her well?
No, not well, but I met her a few times. She was adorable. I actually was at a function and someone said, oh, she wants to meet you, and I sort of went over to be photographed with her, and I got pushed on the floor by these palace officials because they said, you're not on the list, move. And she actually came over afterwards and sort of hung out with me. It was very sweet. And I said to her, my mum loves you and my mum's here. Will you meet my mum? And she goes, yeah. And my mum spent, like, half an hour with her.
Wow.
And she was adorable. My mum, obviously, you can't say anything about Princess Diana to my mother. She adores her.
Yeah,
And I did. I thought she was lovely.
Now, you know, we've talked about you living the life, but you're sober now. You've been sober now for, what, 10 years?
Over 10 years, yeah. March the 2nd, 2008 was my revelation day.
So what was the moment? Was it one of those things, the classic things where you'd realise you'd hit a low point, or was some other reason why you decided you had to change your life?
It was really a series of kind of just constant sort of... You know, with these things, they called it a rock bottom. It just kept sort of... I knew it wasn't going to end well. Do you know what I mean?
So you kept getting in worse and worse situations?
Yeah, worse and worse situations, and I just kind of didn't like the way I looked, and, you know, my voice was a bit short, and I just didn't feel good. So I knew that I had to do something about it, and it was just really an accident. The sort of first NA meeting that I went to was a pure accident, but I knew I had to be there.
So, was booze the problem, or was it other substances the main problem?
No, I was never a drinker. It was just everything else.
Right.
Everything else,
What,
yeah.
everything?
Well, I don't know.
More or less. Well, I've got a list here. Let's go through this list.
Let's not.
No, I'm not. But I mean, man, yeah. And what, George? What was that? Do you think? Was it you were unhappy? You hadn't found a place to be unhappy, or what was the reason why you needed to alter your chemicals? In that
I think sometimes it's just, you know, it's like when you're, you know, people put food in front of you. You often just eat it. You know, like when we travel, there's always food everywhere you go, in airports, dressing rooms, and you don't have to eat it just because it's there. And so the same applies to drugs. You know, I mean, you don't have to take them because they're on offer, but I think it's hard to be in your life. You know?
There's a great quote I read from you which said, it's something like, being Boy George is fun, it's being George O'Dowd that's difficult. It's something like that.
I would say that now I'm kind of happy with both because I don't really see a separation. Do you know what I mean? I know that I'm George O'Dowd from Eltham. Obviously, I'm well aware of that. And, you know, I suppose in a way I've kind of made peace with the whole kind of celebrity thing.
I believe you are vegan, is that correct? Are you
I'm vegan,
still?
yeah.
Because you were macrobiotic for a long while, which I guess is...
Well, I've been
sort of thing.
everything, basically.
When you say... but what I love about you is when you become something new, you talk about it as though I finally, at last, I found the thing that's going to change my life. And then 6 months later, you're not doing that anymore. So what happens in
My
that
mum
period?
always says, I don't know what it is this week.
Yeah.
Is it a Buddhist? I'm a Buddhist, obviously.
Are you still a Buddhist?
I'm a Buddhist, yeah.
But that's been a long time, then?
That's been a long time, yeah. That's something that's been a big part of my life. My mum will always say to me, you're a Catholic. I say, well, I'm that as well.
So you're a Catholic Buddhist?
I'm a Buddhist in my aspirations and a Catholic in my complications.
For a while, and I've met people before who did this, you spent a period, I think, of 6 months drinking your own urine.
He's really trying to make me look like a lunatic.
No. I'm trying to dispel those rumours about you, George.
Have you tried that?
What, drinking your urine?
Yeah.
Do.
Well, apparently it works like homeopathy. It's like, you know, like when you plant leaves back into the soil to kind of, you know, that's apparently what it works.
The theory is the impurities you flushed out, when you put them back in, it strengthens you against them, I believe.
But you can only do it if you're sort of on a really healthy diet. You can't sort of do it if you're having, like, kind of, you know, mac and cheese and,
it
like,
can't be-
Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's got to be kind of pure.
But you kind of enjoyed it. Did you put ice with it or tonic water? But no, can you make it palatable?
No, it really is, like, the first time you do it, it is the most disgusting thing
And is it
ever.
still warm? It's
Yeah,
fresh?
it's warm,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah. What you're supposed to do it quickly.
So, so it's just a little bit?
Like a shot.
Like
Yeah,
a shot.
A double shot. You'd never try that?
I would try it, but I
You
don't
strike
think
me as someone that would be quite adventurous.
No, but I don't need to try it because I don't believe it would work. So that's why I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, but how do you know until you try something if it works?
I tell you why, because it's piss.
But it's in your body.
Yeah, and if my body said I don't need this anymore, so George, it's great to have you back. Not that you ever really went away. Boy George, ladies and gentlemen. Do not think about going anywhere because in a moment I'll be chatting to Stormzy and Sigrid will be performing right here in the studio. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the show. Let's get my next guest out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thrilled he's back on the programme. He's made such brilliant music, but has then used that success as a platform to try and change the world. Part of that is creating his own publishing house to bring through some of the brightest young talents. Will you please welcome out here? We have Jude Yawson, we have Chelsea Quatchy, and with them, of course, their mentor, Stormzy!
Heroes welcome with that band, isn't it?
Good to see you again. It's 5 minutes ago. We were talking. By the way, I noticed before the show you were chatting to George, and you're a big fan of Boy George.
Legendary.
Yeah?
Legendary.
Favourite track?
Come on.
He plays it on Radio 1.
Yeah.
So when you were a kid, you must have listened to him when you were young, I guess?
Yeah, I would have been mad young. Yeah.
What are you doing music-wise at the moment? Because it's been a while since we've had anything from you. What's happening? Why the delay? What's going on?
I've been making my album, which is so basically, I grew my hair out for the album process. Yeah.
Why were you growing your hair for the album?
Because I think making an album and making music is a very soul-bearing process that needs to be very pure. So I said, let me just totally dedicate to music and not worry about like
personal hygiene.
Exactly, you know what I mean? Like exactly waking up. It's mad because I don't have much hairline anyway.
Hold
so
it. Is this is after it's grown out?
Exactly. So let me finish. So I was growing it out. So like as in trying to let the world know like I'm in the studio making it
in a different space.
Exactly. But what happened? No one saw my hair. So then I've trimmed it now, and so today I've been doing a lot of press, and I trimmed it, and basically I had this whole thing of like grow the hair, then trim it, and then when it's trimmed, everyone will know, oh shit, the album's ready.
The album's ready.
But no one fucking knew that I grew it. So I just got this trim, and I'm going around to people like, yo, got a haircut, and they're like, okay.
So they haven't seen you for ages, and then you were just going about a haircut.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, whatever.
You look the same as last episode. So does that mean the album's finished, though?
I got a haircut.
Now, here's the exciting thing. Now, you see we have two young people on the couch with Stormzy. We have Chelsea here and Jude. And this is part of a new publishing venture you're doing. Is it hashtag Murky Books or just Murky Books?
Depends on if you're feeling a bit young and trendy, then you can put the hashtag on it. But
hashtag Murky Books, ladies and gentlemen. That's cool. This is the first book that is published on this imprint. Wise Up, the story of Stormzy. So it seems kind of vain.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, is this just a vanity project for you? It's like, I want to buy a book about me. I know I'll get someone to write a book about me, and then I'll promote the book about me, and then I'll buy the book about me, and then I'll read the book about me, and then I'll go outside and say, I had a haircut, you know what I'm saying?
No, you know, I was really sceptical about because when we first linked up with Penguin for the Murky Books venture, they had the idea of like the first book being a release of myself, and I said it's pretty self-serving, you know what I mean? Like set up a Murky Books imprint, and then hey guys, the first book is me, Stormzy, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm not too sure about that, but the way they pitched it and the way we brought it together was about the murky story so far. So not myself, my incredible team who are here today, and all the people who have been on this journey with me. There we go.
A whole
there's
team.
There's a whole incredible
and it's
team.
a genuine big UK success story. Now, Jude, did you had the idea of doing this book already, or did Stormzy come to you? Did he know of you as a writer?
Yeah, well, he did. Like, we were following each other for like 5 to 6 years, and then just randomly, like in January, he must have hollered me and was like, "Yo, I'm ready to actually get."
You mean
onto
following
this
each other on social media, or
Yeah,
literally
on
in the street? Were you stalking each other? No,
yeah,
on social media.
Well, yeah, we're following each other, and he was just like, he must have said to me like a couple of years ago, "Oh, like I would love to work with you," and I said, "Cool, I'm on it." Then, literally January this year, he just shouted me and said that, "Yeah, I think now's the time."
I mean, it's a great read. I've enjoyed reading it very much indeed. Some of the things that surprised me, I was surprised, don't take this the wrong way, but I was surprised how well you did at school, GCSEs, and you were offered the chance to go to Cambridge, possibly, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you decided not to?
Wouldn't say I decided not to.
So who decided for you?
Life.
OK.
And the teacher that kicked me out of college probably decided as well.
I didn't know you got kicked out of school there. What did you get kicked out for?
I'm...
I mean, this
No,
is
do you know
still...
what it is? I didn't get kicked out for anything crazy. I got kicked... it's going to sound crazy. It's going to sound way crazier than it was, but basically I put, like... I put loads of chairs on another student, like... sounds mad, but you know, like, just fucking... yeah.
You're messing around?
Messing around and...
Horseplay?
Horseplay, and I just put, like, loads of chairs, like, on the... So the student was trapped, like...
I mean, let's just establish, first of all, how many chairs are we talking about here? A whole classroom?
No, about 7 or 8.
Not that many, not that many
chairs.
I thought you were going to go big, like 25, 30.
Exactly, no, about 7 or 8. Enough to entrap the whole human body.
Right, OK.
So,
I mean, it sounds to me like you'd planned this.
No, it was a spontaneous attack, actually.
What had the student done to deserve the chair imprisonment?
It was just some banter, just banter, as you do. And
so, was the person already on the floor? Or
yeah.
Already on the floor?
I might have put him on the floor.
You might have.
I might have put him on the floor.
I mean, I'm beginning to see the school side
exactly.
of it.
It was, but even like, as I put, it was just joke. It sounds crazy. It was just jokes.
No harm was intended.
I can show you after if you lot wait around. I'll show you.
Let's get some chairs out here, and we're going to demonstrate this in a minute.
Exactly. I'll put the chairs in there.
But that's what they kicked you out of. Was that like the first strike, though?
No, that's what I mean. It was like the 100th strike.
Oh, right.
That's why. Exactly. You don't get kicked out for putting chairs on someone. I was just a little shit. I admit it now. I wasn't one of them like hyper kids like.
You were just occasionally. You'd act out your impulses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way.
But the reason I'm asking that in particular is because you could have gone to Cambridge, and of course you're sitting next to Chelsea, who did go to Cambridge.
Exactly.
And that's going to be the next book from your publishing house. Chelsea, tell us about what your book's going to be called, and what the subject matter is.
Yeah, so the book's going to be called Taking Up Space. So I was admitted to Cambridge in 2015. I was the only person in my school to get in. And then when I actually got to Cambridge, I was the only black female student who was studying history out of a cohort of about 200 people.
Wow.
So when you're there, you realise that you're not just a student, you're a black student. You're fighting for your identity, your rights in many ways in an institution that doesn't really value you. So this book is basically just detailing that experience and just platforming the amazing stuff that students are doing on the ground already.
Yeah. I mean, well, it sounds like it's going to be amazing. When you went from your school in Chingford to Cambridge, it must have felt like you were entering a different world, didn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was like Hogwarts. Like, and you walk into these grand buildings and you see these portraits. It's a completely different world. I remember I went to my first dinner and there was about 10 different pieces of cutlery on the table, and I didn't know which one to use first. So I was like looking at the person next to me.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different world.
You're co-writing this book with Ore, I believe, but you're not studying at Cambridge anymore. You've moved on, haven't you?
No, so I graduated from Cambridge in June.
Can I ask you what degree you got?
I got a first.
You got a first. Come on. I mean, that's pretty good. You have a scholarship program as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do have a.
What's the scholarship program?
It's called the Stormzy Scholarship.
I mean, the vanity of this man makes me sick, ladies and gentlemen.
The Stormzy Scholarship, but it's in partnership with Cambridge University, and every year we'll be sending, well, hopefully more, but we've started every year. We're going to send at least 2 young black students to Cambridge, and we'll pay for all their tuition.
It's an amazing thing. You know, there's that saying, be the change you want to see, and that's what's going on right here. There really is. Stormzy, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, let's say thank you for being here to Chelsea and to Jude. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You were great. Hey, before we move on, you're a big fan of Alicia as well, weren't you?
I love Alicia.
Now, when was the first time you met Alicia?
I met Alicia, when was it, Brits?
Yeah.
Last year,
Yeah, and you were a big fan beforehand, weren't you?
Yes, of course.
OK, so we got Alicia here. It would be a shame to not use her finely honed judging skills, because I know that we have some hidden talents here in our guests, and I wonder whether we could do a little tiny impromptu version of Britain's Got Talent. You up for that, Alicia?
Yeah, let's do it.
You guys up for this as well?
I think so.
I think you're into it. Alicia, come over here and join me here, because look what I've got set up here. Just for you, I've got the mini version of that. Do we have a chair for Alicia? Which side do you want to sit on? You want to sit on that side? OK, here we go. Stormzy, I did a bit of research on you, and I found out when you were young, you played the bugle.
I did play the bugle.
Yeah?
OK. I think if you reach down there for us...
Can I give a little background story on why I played the bugle?
Please do.
So has anyone heard of the Boys Brigade?
Yeah, I was in the Boys Brigade.
I was in the flipping
Yeah,
Boys Brigade, bro.
Were you in the Imps before that?
No. So for those that don't know the Boys Brigade, it's like the Scouts, isn't it? Like,
Scouts, but
yeah.
cooler.
debatable. We used to march. Like,
Yeah. We used to wear little blue uniforms.
Yeah. And so yeah, we used to march and we used to get armbands and that.
Yeah.
At the time, I just thought it was cool.
How old were you?
I was about 10,
That's
10,
cool,
11.
yeah, that's fine.
If you're a little fucking dork, yeah. that's a Jonathan Ross joke, isn't it? I've been watching you
I
too
was
much.
proud of, I was captain of the yellow team in Imps.
Okay,
And I was highly commended in the Boys Brigade.
so you was like the top dork, like.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was. I'll take that. So you learned to play this in there.
So I didn't even learn how to play it, to be honest, but we'll have a pot today.
You learned a little bit.
Nah. No, I didn't know. Do you know what? I was meant to learn, but like, I was meant to get to that stage of like the Boys Brigade levels, like your level, like top dork level. Like,
yes.
And then. So, here you go, guys. I don't even know what I'm doing, but fuck it.
Do we need to do... No, wait. Oh. Should I...
That was shit.
Let me show you how it's done, because I learned it.
Oh, do you actually know how to do it?
Yeah. I don't know how to play. But I tell you what, your lips taste sweet.
Yeah, that's it. From paper.
Russell,
Yeah.
would you like to tell us what your skill is, your hidden talent?
Well, mine is throwing a tea bag across the kitchen and making it land in a cup.
That's it, that's the whole
That's
thing.
it, mate. Yeah.
What kind of distance are we
quite a
talking
skill.
about here?
I reckon, so if
if I put the teacup there...
Yeah, and I get it from there.
You reckon you get one in?
So it has to be a dry tea bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, because otherwise they've already made the tea. Do you want to have a warm-up first?
Absolutely not. I'll do it first time.
OK, so I'd like you all to get behind me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him... Come on, let's give him
This
some
isn't gonna
encouragement
work.
here. And let's see, and we'll see where this can go through.
It's quite far away as well.
Long way.
Walk in. So, George, you're going to be my girlfriend. So, OK. OK, hey, love, do you want a cup of tea?
I'd love one.
You know you do, baby. I've never said that. Why would you say
Just for that corny line.
dear.
Do you live in a porn film?
I live with a doctor. Right, here we go. Oh,
Come on.
you're way off.
It's terrible.
George, have a go.
Do you want me to have a go?
That's what the
OK,
problem
OK.
is.
That was pretty... it was good. That shows you how it should be done, Russell. OK, that's all we have time for tonight from our guests here. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in saying thank you to Alicia Dixon, Russell Howe, the young lady boy George. We've got Stormzy there, and two brilliant young writers, Chelsea and Jude. We'll be back next week with an exclusive interview with Emma Bunton, Mel C, Mel B and Jerry Horner. Plus, we have John Bishop and the fabulous Kylie Minogue on the show. But now, we Sucker Punch. Please go crazy for Sigrid!
Woo!
In the hallway for a cup of coffee by the stairs. We're both in a hurry. Let's leave the meeting when there's no one there. Both our hoodies red. You're in my head. Yeah, there's no pressure. At least that's what we always said. I was keeping it together. I guess I didn't understand. Then I fell for you. I lost my cool. It hit me like a sucker punch. Just one look and I'm out of touch. I'm freaking out 'cause I'm scared this might end bad, but I still come back for that sucker punch. come up with the bad things. Didn't want to write a happy song. You've had only good reactions, so I don't want to be the one to this up. I swear, out of nowhere, it hit me like a sucker punch. Just one look and I'm out of touch. I'm freaking out 'cause I'm scared this might end bad, but I still come back for that sucker punch. Just one look and I'm out of touch. I'm freaking out 'cause I'm scared this might end bad, but I still come back for that sucker punch. Sucker punch. Sucker punch. But I still come back for that sucker punch. Sucker punch. Sucker punch. But I still come back for that sucker punch. Just one look and I'm out of touch. I'm freaking out 'cause I'm scared this might end bad, but I still come back for that sucker punch. Just one look and I'm out of touch. Hey, but I still come back for that sucker punch. Just one look and I'm out of touch. I'm freaking out 'cause I'm scared this might end bad, but I still come back for that sucker punch. Sucker punch. Sucker punch. But I still come back for that sucker punch. Sucker punch. Sucker punch. But I still come back for that sucker punch.
The nation's sweetheart Sheridan Smith is coming home to Doncaster for a special one-off gig ahead of the launch of her brand new album. Don't miss the revealing look into the person behind the headlines tomorrow evening at 9:30.